181 days after Nancy Guthrie was taken from her home, the sheriff released the actual ransom notes to the public. Not a summary. The notes themselves. And the reason they released them is specific. They are not looking for a fingerprint. They are not looking for a vehicle. They are looking for a writer. Because the person who wrote those notes has a unique pattern, a comma splice, a specific way of writing dates, the phrase $USD used together in a way linguists say is unusual. And somewhere, someone who knows the writer of those notes is watching this video right now. Before we go any further, if you are watching this because you want the documented facts, not the clickbait, not the speculation, hit subscribe right now. Crime Collective Files covers this investigation with the forensic detail it deserves. Every video built on verified sources and confirmed timelines. This case is still moving. The hair sample went nowhere. A man is suing for $3.25 million. The FBI is searching the desert brush again. You do not want to find out what comes next from someone else's thumbnail. The Pima County Sheriff's Department released the 2 ransom notes to the public on July 31, 2026, 181 days after Nancy Guthrie was taken from her home in the Catalina foothills of Tucson, Arizona. Not a summary. Not selected quotes read at a press conference. The actual notes, redacted only in the places where investigators needed to protect specific operational details, released to every person with a phone and an internet connection and a memory for how certain people write. The Sheriff's Department explained exactly why. These communications reveal distinctive patterns of word choice, syntax, and phraseology that reflect the writer's unique linguistic style. They also provide valuable insight into the person's mindset, motives, and the evolution of their tone over time. We believe these distinctive linguistic characteristics may be recognizable to someone who knows or has interacted with the note's writer. A friend, family member, coworker, classmate, or acquaintance may recognize these patterns of expression and possess information that could help identify the individual responsible. This is forensic linguistics. The same discipline used to identify the Unabomber. Authorities similarly used a suspect's own writings as a tool to apprehend Theodore, Ted Kaczynski, branded the Unabomber by the FBI. The FBI's Behavioral Science Unit analyzed Kaczynski's manifesto and matched its linguistic fingerprint to letters, journals, and academic work that eventually led them to a cabin in rural Montana. The writer had no idea his syntax was identifying him. He thought he was anonymous. Retired investigator Lisa Miller, examining the Guthrie notes, identified comma splices, a specific grammatical pattern where 2 independent clauses are joined by a comma rather than a period or semicolon, as a repeated quirk present throughout. She also flagged the sender's use of both a $sign and the letters USD to specify the ransom amount, along with the way dates and times were written, as notable distinctive characteristics. She said, "There's something else, it's called idiolect. Idiolect is our personal style of communication and it can be affected by many things. The region we grew up in, neighborhoods we live in, slang that we've adopted." Miller also said she doesn't think the sender used AI to write the messages. There's a typo. The sentences don't have the smooth AI-generated flow. Instead, the unusual language may reflect the writer's unique speech and writing habits. A human being wrote those notes. With their own hands, their own brain, their own lifelong patterns of expression. They chose the word, perished. They wrote, $4 million. They used a comma where a period should be. They ended the second note with, "We are truly sorry." And somewhere, in Tucson, in Arizona, possibly elsewhere, someone who has received emails, texts, handwritten notes, grocery lists, or work messages from this person has read something that sounded exactly like this before. And now they are holding that recognition, weighing it, deciding what to do with it. This documentary is for that person. And for everyone who wants to understand why the 6-month mark in this case produced a cascade of new developments, none of which has yet produced an arrest, and all of which are still building toward one. Nancy Ellen Long was born January 27, 1942, in Fort Wright, Kentucky. She was 84 years old when she disappeared. She had lived in Tucson, Arizona for more than 5 decades, raising 3 children, Savannah, Annie, and Cameron. She worked at the University of Arizona for nearly 2 decades. She attended a virtual church service with a close friend every Sunday without fail. She was mentally sharp. Independent. She lived alone in her home in the Catalina foothills, in the shadow of the Santa Catalina Mountains. She needed a cardiac pacemaker. She needed daily medication she could not go without. On January 31, 2026, she went to dinner with her daughter Annie and son-in-law Tommaso Cioni. Tommaso drove her home. The garage door closed at 9:48 p.m. He watched to make sure she got inside safely. Then he drove away. Savannah Guthrie, on August 1, shared a new message about the family's agony and despair and its determination to bring Nancy home. Every day, we wake up and try to be strong and go on, because that's what our joyful and resilient mom taught us to do. But make no mistake, our hearts are in ruins, Guthrie wrote. We are begging for help. We are desperate. We need someone to come forward. Someone knows something. Someone suspects something. Someone recognizes the writing in the ransom demand notes. Someone recognizes the writing. That sentence, from Nancy's own daughter, on the day the notes were publicly released, is the central request of the 6-month mark. Not a new lead announced by law enforcement. Not a named suspect. A request from a daughter to anyone who has ever received a message from the person who wrote those words. Recognize the writing. Come forward. The forensic record of January 31 and early February 1 is the most documented element of this case. Every detail confirmed. 9:48 p.m., garage door closes. Tommaso drives away. 1:47 a.m., doorbell camera goes offline. A masked suspect had approached, tilted his head away from the lens, and covered it with foliage from a potted plant. Not smashed. Covered. He needed Nancy to open the door. 2:12 a.m., motion detected at the property. 2:28 a.m., Nancy's pacemaker signal lost. She was no longer in range. She had been removed from her home. Blood confirmed as Nancy's was found on the front porch. The suspect, male, approximately 5 feet 9 inches to 5 feet 10 inches, dark mustache, black gloves, Ozark Trail 25L backpack sold exclusively at Walmart, holstered firearm. 2 surveillance dates confirmed, January 11th and January 24th. The suspect had been in that neighborhood multiple times in advance. Sheriff Nanos confirmed this month that it is possible the person responsible is still in the Tucson area. The investigation has generated over 40,000 tips. The reward stands at $1.2 million. The case is classified as a homicide probe. Sheriff Nanos says it is not cold. The DNA from the black glove found 2 miles from the property returned no Cody's match, meaning no prior felony conviction in the federal database. Investigative genetic genealogy through Parabon Nanolabs is underway. And as of August 2026, no arrest. No suspect publicly named. But more evidence in the public record than at any previous point in this investigation. The first note was sent to local CBS Tucson affiliate KOLD-TV on February 2, the day after Nancy disappeared. It was addressed directly to Savannah Guthrie. Here is what it said, in full, as released by the Pima County Sheriff's Department and FBI Phoenix Field Office on July 31, 2026. We have your mother Nancy. She is safe but scared. She will be held for ransom and once payment is received she will be released unharmed. We will be holding her for a maximum of 7 days. If payment is not received by the last deadline on Monday the 9th at 5 p.m., she will be killed. Your mother is aware of this and her life is in your hands. It is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. You will not be able to contact me from here on out, there will be no negotiation. The note demanded $4 million in Bitcoin by February 5, increasing to $6 million by February 9. Now the forensic linguistics. Lisa Miller flagged several specific characteristics. The dollar sign combined with USD, $4 million US, is redundant. If you write the dollar sign, you do not need to add USD. Investigators flagged this as potentially indicating someone whose native language or primary financial context is not American, or someone who learned financial terminology from sources outside everyday American usage. The comma splices. Writing like, "She is safe but scared, she will be held for ransom," running two complete thoughts together with a comma rather than separating them. This is a specific grammatical habit. Not a typo. A pattern that repeats throughout the notes. The phrase, "It is in the best interest of everyone." Formal, almost legalistic. Not the language of someone who speaks casually. Someone with a specific educational or professional background. The deadline written as, Monday the 9th at 5 p.m., with a capital PM, without a colon, without a space. That is a specific formatting habit. Unconscious. Habitual. The kind of thing you do the same way every time you write a time, because that is how you have always done it. Miller said she would ask people looking at these notes to pay attention to these characteristics specifically. That's a distinction, she said. Idiolect is our personal style of communication. Someone writes this way. Every day. In texts, in emails, in notes left on countertops. The question the sheriff is now asking the public to answer, does this sound like someone you know? The second note was sent February 6, 5 days after Nancy disappeared, to a Tucson news outlet. Its contents were kept private for nearly 5 months. They entered the public record in late June through a podcast. They were officially released by the sheriff on July 31. The note said, "She is buried in nature now. Nothing you could have done could have changed the outcome. We want your family to know this and hope you all can find peace." It added, "We believe it was heart-related." And ended with, "We are truly sorry." 3 sentences that carry the entire remaining forensic question in this case. We believe it was heart-related. Not confirmed. Not certain. Believed. The person who wrote this either knew Nancy had a cardiac pacemaker, which is insider knowledge, or was characterizing a death they observed without medical knowledge. Believed is not what a doctor writes. It is what a non-medical person writes when describing something that looked like a cardiac event. She is buried in nature now. Nature. Not a location. A category. In the terrain surrounding Tucson, the Santa Catalinas, the Rincon Mountains, the Tucson Mountains, the Sonoran Desert in all directions, the Mexico border 70 miles south, nature encompasses hundreds of square miles. The sheriff released these notes knowing that the phrase, "buried in nature," is their best current directional indicator for where Nancy may be. And they are asking the public to help narrow that search by identifying who wrote it. We are truly sorry. That closing. The apology. From someone who took an 84-year-old woman from her home at 2 a.m. and is now asking her family to find peace. That tonal shift, from execution threats in Note 1 to an apology in Note 2, tells behavioral analysts something specific about the writer's psychological state at the time of the second note. The plan had gone wrong. What they planned had not happened. And now they were trying to close the loop with an apology. Savannah Guthrie said on July 27, before the notes were released, "We will always ache for her and feel that hole in our hearts. The world can be a cruel and unforgiving place, and I know that you have tried to do things the right way." She was speaking to the writer of that second note. Directly. Publicly. From a person who had seen the original, who knew what it said before the public did, and who was choosing language designed to keep the channel open. To give the writer a reason to say more. To give investigators another communication they could analyze. The apology at the end of that second note is not kindness. It is evidence. And someone in the public may recognize it. The Pima County Sheriff's Department confirmed on July 30 that testing on hair found at the 84-year-old's Catalina Foothills home did not point to a suspect. This is the detail that received the least coverage relative to its significance, because it changes the DNA picture in a specific way. The hair sample recovered from inside Nancy's residence, one of the items that has been at the FBI laboratory for analysis, did not produce a result that pointed to a suspect. The PCSD said detectives did not elaborate on where the hair was found or whether it belonged to a man or a woman. That dead end comes alongside the notice of claim filed by Carlos Palazuelos. Two pieces of the same picture, the physical evidence from the scene didn't produce a suspect, and the person the sheriff's department pursued most aggressively in the early weeks of the investigation is now suing them. The DNA picture in this case is, the black glove found 2 miles away returned no Cody's match. The hair sample returned no suspect match. The mixed DNA from inside the residence, including material sent to a private Florida lab, is still being analyzed. Investigative genetic genealogy is underway. And the case continues without a single identified suspect. That is the honest forensic picture. The investigation is not cold. But the physical evidence, as of August 2026, has not yet produced a name. On February 10, 2026, 10 days after Nancy Guthrie disappeared, Carlos Palazuelos was driving home from work. He is a 36-year-old delivery driver. He was in Rio Rico, Arizona, approximately 60 miles south of Tucson, when Pima County Sheriff's deputies pulled him over. He told reporters after his release, "Something I didn't do. I felt like I was being kidnapped, bro. They didn't tell me anything." He told media, "They held me against my will. They didn't even read me my rights until 2 hours later." He showed reporters his wrists, which he said were swollen from being in handcuffs. While Palazuelos was being detained, men in military gear pointed guns at his family member Daniel Maddox, removed him from the home, and, in the language of the court filing, ransacked the home, causing significant property damage that included breaking the front door, door frame, damaging paint, ceiling tiles, and the attic entrance. Palazuelos was held for approximately 7 to 8 hours. Site index equals 36-1. He said he may have delivered a package to Nancy's home, and that deputies showed his in-law a picture of somebody wearing a mask, and it supposedly looked like my eyes. He was released without charge. No arrest. No evidence presented to the public connecting him to Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. Sheriff Nanos defended the raid. "We had information that made us believe that there's a potential that Nancy's there, or there's a potential the bad guy's there. That evidence is presented to the judge that says, 'Yep, go get him.' But he declined to share what that evidence was. Now, 6 months later, the evidence has not been made public. The affidavit used to obtain the search warrant remains sealed. And Palazuelos, who says he had nothing to do with this case, is demanding answers. Carlos Palazuelos and members of his family have filed a notice of claim against the Pima County Sheriff's Department, the precursor to a formal lawsuit. The claim seeks $2.5 million for Palazuelos, $500,000 for his brother-in-law Daniel Maddox, and approximately $250,000 for his mother-in-law Josefina Maddox, who is the homeowner. Total, $3.25 million. The filing accuses authorities of conducting a wrongful arrest and search, alleging that Palazuelos was taken into custody at gunpoint and kept for roughly 7 to 8 hours without probable cause. Attorney Jesse Showalter said of the evidence, "Whatever this purported evidence was that the sheriff's department used to obtain the search warrant, it's wrong. It's not good evidence." He also raised a specific possibility, that investigators may have relied on inaccurate information from new AI software or flock license plate cameras, technology that, if it produced a false positive, could have sent investigators to the wrong person. Showalter's specific demand, unseal the affidavit and let the public see what the sheriff's department told a judge to get that warrant. The county has 60 days to respond to the notice of claim before the legal team can file a formal lawsuit. Here is what the Palazuelos lawsuit means for this investigation as a whole. A sealed affidavit is a court document. Court documents, in civil litigation, can be subject to discovery. If Palazuelos files a formal lawsuit and pursues it through the civil discovery process, the affidavit that justified the raid on his family's home, the document that tells us specifically what evidence led investigators to a delivery driver in Rio Rico, could eventually become part of the public record. Which means the lawsuit is not just about $3.25 million in damages. It is about compelling the release of information about how this investigation has been making its decisions. And that transparency question is one the Sheriff's Department, currently fighting a public dispute with the FBI director, may not welcome. On August 6, 2026, Fox News Digital reported that a neighbor living a few doors down from Nancy Guthrie's home told them she saw faces she recognized from earlier law enforcement activity, returning to the neighborhood. She said they were combing through the desert brush behind Nancy's house. A Pima County Sheriff's Department spokesperson said their task force investigators had not recently returned to the neighborhood. The FBI has not publicly responded to the report. Two statements that do not resolve the contradiction. The sheriff says his task force has not recently returned. The neighbor says she recognized faces from earlier in the investigation, searching the brush. If the people she recognized are FBI agents rather than PCSD deputies, both of those statements could simultaneously be accurate. Former FBI agent Jennifer Coffin-Daffer had urged in July that the area near Nancy's home needed to be searched again, referencing the Thelma Gaston case, an 80-year-old millionaire who went missing 40 years ago and whose remains were only recently identified through advanced DNA testing near Sugarloaf Mountain. The desert brush behind Nancy's home in the Catalina foothills is relevant in a specific forensic context. The second Ransom note says she is buried in nature now. Nature is the word. And the desert behind her house, the terrain immediately adjacent to where she was last seen alive, is nature. The search of that specific area, at the 6-month mark, is not arbitrary. It is a response to the most directional piece of information the investigation has: she is buried in nature. And nature begins immediately behind the house they are searching. During an interview with Vanity Fair published August 14, Flock Safety founder Garrett Langley declared, "We would have solved that case. 100%. There's no doubt in my mind." Flock cameras are automated license plate reader systems installed in residential neighborhoods. They scan every vehicle that passes, log the plate, the time, and the location, and store that data in a searchable database accessible to law enforcement. In December 2025, Flock cameras were credited with the rapid apprehension of suspects in both a Brown University mass shooting and the killing of an MIT professor. Langley's claim is specific: if Flock cameras had been active in Nancy's neighborhood on the night of January 31, investigators would have a record of every vehicle that drove through that area between 9:48 p.m., when the garage door closed, and 2:28 a.m., when the pacemaker signal went silent. They would have plates. They would have timestamps. They would potentially have the vehicle of the person who took her. They do not have that. The cameras were not there. Palazuelos' attorney raised a related concern from the opposite direction, that investigators may have used Flock camera data that produced a false positive, connecting Palazuelos to the area not because he was there on the night of the abduction, but because his delivery work had placed his vehicle in the area at some other point, and the system or the analysis of it went wrong. Both sides of that camera conversation, the founder who says it would have solved the case, and the attorney who says it may have sent investigators to the wrong man, are now part of the public record in this case. Savannah Guthrie's public statement on August 1, "Every day, we wake up and try to be strong and go on, because that's what our joyful and resilient mom taught us to do. But make no mistake, our hearts are in ruins. We are begging for help. We are desperate. We need someone to come forward. Someone knows something. Someone suspects something. Someone recognizes the writing in the ransom demand notes." That statement, written by a daughter on the day the notes her mother's kidnappers sent were made public, contains the entire emotional and forensic weight of 6 months without answers. She is not asking for sympathy. She is asking for a specific action: recognize the writing. The notes are public. If you know this writer, you now have everything you need to compare it to what you have seen before. In her July 27th message, Savannah said, "We will always ache for her and feel that hole in our hearts. The world can be a cruel and unforgiving place, and I know that you have tried to do things the right way. So I am asking, begging, you to do the right thing now. Tell us where to look for her. That's all we are asking. Help us bring our mom home." She was speaking to the writer of the second note. The person who ended it with, "We are truly sorry." She was giving them an opening. An off-ramp. A reason to do the right thing without requiring them to surrender themselves, just to provide a location. No one has taken that off-ramp yet. As of the third week of August 2026, here is the complete confirmed record. The notes are public. The linguistic fingerprint is documented by an expert, splices, for $1,000,000, the date formatting, the word perished, the apology at the end of the second note. Someone recognizes this writing. That is the operating theory of the August investigation. The hair sample went nowhere. The DNA from the black glove returned no Cody's match. The mixed biological material from the residence, including items sent to a private Florida lab, is still under analysis. Investigative genetic genealogy is underway. The FBI searched the desert brush behind Nancy's home. No confirmed public result. Carlos Palazuelos is suing Pima County for $3.25 million. The sealed affidavit that sent investigators to his door 6 months ago has not been made public. The county has 60 days to respond before the lawsuit can be formally filed. The flock camera debate has entered the public record, a founder who says they would have solved the case, and an attorney who says the technology or its analysis may have sent investigators to the wrong man. The sheriff says the investigation is not cold. The case is classified as a homicide probe. The FBI sheriff-public dispute is documented. Sheriff Nanos has never met or spoken to FBI Director Kash Patel. Both agencies are working the case through the same task force structure they established in February. The reward is $1.2 million. The tip lines are active. The notes are public. And someone who reads emails, texts, or handwritten notes from the person who wrote, "She is buried in nature now. We are truly sorry," has all the information they need to make a call that could change everything. If you have information, call the FBI, 1-800-CALL-FBI. Call the Pima County Sheriff, 520-351-4900. The reward is real. The tip is anonymous. And the writing is public. If you recognize it, you know what to do. Nancy Guthrie deserves to come home.